Watoga was founded by Watoga Incorporated on February 4, 2042, built at the site of an old ghost town in the state of West Virginia. Financed by Atomic Mining Services, the Watoga project aimed to create a city of the future and was designed to be fully automated. Civil services and municipal management were handled by a variety of carefully programmed Robco Industries and General Atomics International robot models, mostly Protectrons and Mr. Handys, operating the city cleanly and efficiently. The only human element in governance was the mayor, chosen by the city's systems for a term of random duration. The system was intended to ensure that the mayor would not be hounded by special interests or bribes from corrupt enterprises. The Watoga Constitution also granted the mayor's executive orders to be the force of law, with the single exception that no such law could directly counteract that authority. As the randomly selected mayors likely would not have the governmental experience, the Watoga Municipal Center office was outfitted with the Mayoral Artificial Intelligence Assistant, or MAIA, an artificial intelligence intended to provide the mayor with the necessary expertise to help make executive decisions. Mayors in the office could tell MAIA their desires to draft the appropriate legislation, or, if confused about a possible course of action, be provided with informative answers from her knowledge database of decades' worth of curated news articles, court opinions, and legislature. Despite the founding company's intentions, the system of governance proved to be fundamentally flawed in practice. Mayors often had no regard for the public interest, instead abusing their position for personal gains, such as the banning of rock and roll music. Watoga published its own periodical, the Watoga Times, which had existed by at least 2057. The newspaper advertised the Atomic Lottery, a lottery in which the winner would receive a decade's supply of various foodstuffs, with at least one winner emerging 1 month before the war, having played the lottery for over 20 years. The resource wars, which began in 2052, was known to have put great strain on the city's medical care to the degree that a lack of beds were available, and the Watoga emergency services were forced to kick patients out before they were ready to leave, particularly as soon as they were ready to half stand up. Watoga greatly suffered from elitism, with steep property prices excluding all but the richest Appalachians from purchasing real estate within the city. Residency was also subject to additional approval by corporate overlords. Robco's management determined which applications were approved, and frequently rejected those submitted by their own full-time employees. The elites had a vested interest in their city, voting against any measures that would endanger their status, including limiting emergency fire services to only the city's major districts and declining additional bus services so that the lowered cost wouldn't bring the wrong kinds of people to the city. The tide of automation also resulted in a rapid increase in unemployment, driving people out. The dissatisfaction and rejection caused Scott Turner, a Robco developer, to form the Free Watoga People's Party and sabotage the city and its robotic staff. On October 22, 2077, Turner launched Operation Free Watoga, breaching Watoga's emergency service protocols and causing the city's robots to malfunction. To prevent their repair, Turner broke the transmission sequencer and corrupted the software on update terminals throughout the Robco Research Center, leaving the terminal in his office the only machine capable of creating updates. To restrict access, Turner locked the terminal and prevented any badge other than his own from accessing the office. While Turner had only planned to evacuate Watoga, the emergency services attacked citizens as they tried to evacuate. As a precaution in the event of her death, the then mayor, Barbara Elizabeth, issued an executive order to instate anyone who entered her Watoga Municipal Center office as the new mayor for the day. Once evacuations were complete, Elizabeth had planned to negotiate a truce with the unknown saboteur, but succumbed to fatal injuries before she could do so. Watoga's robotic emergency services continued to remain hostile after the Great War. The next day, the Great War took place. Upon witnessing the nuclear apocalypse, Turner was guilt-ridden, having no idea his plan would take place only a day before the world was destroyed by nuclear weapons and wipe out a majority of the human race. Hoping to atone for his mistakes and suffering from radiation poisoning, Turner left behind instructions on how to render Watoga's corrupted emergency services passive to anyone passing through Watoga so they would be able to live in the city in peace. Over 25 years after the Great War in the 22nd century, the city's robots are still functional. There are only a few residents located in the city who are or were once human. Vernon Dodge, Maram Ayari, Frankie Beckett, and Vincent May Lilly. Additionally, Sargento is running a slaver operation at the Watoga Civic Center, while the Hellcat Company took base at the AMS corporate headquarters. Watoga is an expansive and dense city. The unique spire of corporate headquarters of Atomic Mining Services towers over all other buildings in the city. The administrative portion of the town is centralized around the AMS Tower and Watoga's municipal and civic centers. The tall buildings connect to those to the southwest, including the Watoga Estates via elevators and sky bridges to and from the topside pool, municipal center rooftops, and monorail station to the northwest. The upper floors of the central buildings are also accessible via stairwells in the southeastern part of town. Across the street from the Civic Center, Watoga Emergency Services features an open lobby and roof access, containing a helipad and view of downtown Watoga. The northeastern commercial portion is situated between the headquarters plaza to the west and high school to the south. The businesses of the shopping plaza are located throughout, including Super Duper Mart, Watoga Real Estate, and Hubris Comics and Toys Store alongside Miller's Appliances and Stewart's Department Store. Along the northern perimeter, a long walkway overlooks the Cranberry Bog region, complete with garden terraces and a bandstand. The southern edge features Fresh Soil Restaurant, Slocum's Joe, Cranberry Heights, and a solitary Drumlin Diner. Circling back towards the center of town, a crashed Vertibot and its detritus are scattered across the AMS Plaza. The city is inhabited by several varieties of robots, such as Assaultrons, iBots, and Protectrons, created continuously via robot fabricators throughout the city. Wrecked vehicles, Scorch Beast guano piles, and broken robots litter the roadways. Scorch Beasts have also constructed nests out of accumulations of wreckage, affixed to the walls and roofs of several buildings. Split-flap display signs are installed throughout the city, actively rotating through their pre-war announcements. The city's roadways are named after the city's tech companies, either by name or by associated verbiage, such as Robco Boulevard, Innovation East, and AMS West Streets.